All right, okay, solving equations using an inverse method now. The inverse of addition is subtraction, and the inverse of multiplication is division. So the additive inverse of positive 5 is negative 5. The multiplicative inverse of 5x is x divided by 5. So inverse means the opposite. Here are the examples. You are asked to solve for x. Number 1, negative x minus 5 is equal to negative 13. What you are going to do, you are going to write this negative x minus 5 and ask yourself, what is the additive inverse of negative 5? The additive inverse of negative 5 is positive 5. Remember, I said if the signs are not the same, you subtract. So 5 minus 5 is 0. So the additive inverse is something that is going to give you 0. So this positive 5 is new here on the left hand side. There was no positive 5, is equal to negative 13. So take this positive 5 and put it also on the right hand side. What you have done on the left hand side must also be done on the right hand side. Then negative x, then you add negative 5 plus positive 5, you subtract 5 from 5 and you get 0, and you are left with the negative x on the left hand side is equal to negative 13 plus positive 5. You ask yourself 3 questions. How are the signs? What must I do? Which sign am I going to put to the answer? So the signs are not the same. If the signs are not the same, I said you subtract the smaller number from the bigger number and take the sign of the bigger number to the answer. So let's go. 13 minus 5 is 8. Then you take the sign of the bigger number, which is a negative sign. Remember, we were asked to solve for x, not for negative x. All right, okay, now I said when the coefficient is not written, it means the coefficient here is 1. So let's find the multiplicative inverse of negative 1x. Negative 1x means negative 1 times x. Negative 1 times x is negative x. So the multiplicative inverse of negative x means that we must divide by negative 1 on both sides. You divide by negative 1 on both sides. Then negative divided by a negative, it's a positive. Then you are left with x on the left hand side is equal to negative divided by a negative, it's a positive. Then you are left with 8. Therefore, x is equal to 8, and that is our answer. Number 2, solve for x if you are given 3x plus 5 is equal to 61 minus 5x. Then you write 3x. Then you take this term which has a variable next to this term which also is having a variable, so that the like terms are put together. Or we are trying to take all the terms with a variable and put them on the left hand side. Remember, Please never, 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 never forget this. This is very, 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 very important. If you take a term from the right hand side to the left hand side, the sign changes. Even if you take the term from the left hand side and write it on the right hand side, the sign is going to change. So when you take this negative 5x and put it on the left hand side, it is going to be positive 5x. The sign changes now. Then you bring down this positive 5 and say plus 5 is equal to 61. Now let's add the like terms. The signs are the same. You add positive 3x plus positive 5x. It's positive 8x plus 5 is equal to 61. Then we want only 8x on the left hand side. What must we do now? Let's find the additive inverse of positive 5. Then you write 8x plus 5 and ask yourself, what is the additive inverse of positive 5? It is negative 5 is equal to, this is new on the left hand side, is equal to 61. What you have done on the left hand side must also be done on the right hand side. So you also write this negative 5 on the right hand side. Then you say 8x positive 5 plus negative 5. You subtract 5 from 5, it's 0. So you are left with 8x is equal to 61 minus 5, it's 56. Then now we want x only now on the left hand side. So you must find the multiplicative inverse of positive 8x. The multiplicative inverse of positive 8x is you divide by 8 on both sides. Divide by 8 on both sides. 8 goes here 1, 8 goes here 1, and you are left with x is equal to 8 goes here 1, 8 goes to 56 7 times. Then x is equal to 7. Therefore, the value of x is equal to 7. Number 3. Solve for x. If you are given x plus 5 into x plus 1 is equal to 4 into 2x minus 2 plus 11x. Firstly, let's quickly remove the brackets. It's x, all right. A positive times a positive, it's a positive. 5 times x, it's 5x. Positive times a positive, it's a positive. 5 times 1, it's 5, is equal to positive times a positive, it's a positive. 4 times 2x, it's 8x. Positive times a negative, it's a negative. 4 times 2, it's 8, plus 11x. Right now, the brackets are all removed. Then let's add the like terms on the left hand side and on the right hand side. We are going to add x, positive x plus 5x. Remember, the coefficient here is 1. So positive 1 plus 5 is 6x plus 5 is equal to, you add positive 8x and positive 12x. The signs are the same. So it's 11 plus 8, which is positive 19x minus 8. Then now what are we going to do? let's take this term with a variable from the right hand side and put it on the left hand side. So we are going to write this positive 6x. When we take this positive 19x to the left hand side, the sign is going to change and becomes negative 19x. It becomes negative 19x. Then you bring down that positive 5, which is equal to, you are left with negative 8 on the right hand side. Let's add now the like terms. You ask those 3 questions. How are the signs? What am I going to do? And which sign am I going to put to the answer? The signs are not the same. So if the signs are not the same, I subtract the smaller number from the bigger number. 19 minus 6 is 13x. Which sign am I going to put? I'm going to put the sign of the bigger number. So it's negative 13x plus 5 is equal to negative 8. Then I want negative 13x only on the left hand side. Ndiza kwenza ntoni ngoku? Alright, let me find the additive inverse of positive 5. Then I'm going to write negative 13x plus 5. The additive inverse of positive 5 is negative 5. This is new is equal to negative 8. What you have done on the left hand side must also be done on the right hand side. So you also put this negative 5 even here. Then positive 5 plus negative 5 gives you 0, and you are left with negative 13x is equal to, how are the signs? They are the same. What am I going to do? Let me add 8 plus 5, it's 13. Which sign am I going to put to the answer? You can put any sign because the signs are the same. So, xa zifana zino-negative zombini. Or else I'm happy even if you say you put the sign of the bigger number because zihleli zifana kakade. So, uzenzela for your safety xa usithi you put the sign of the bigger number. So the answer here is negative 13. Then now we want the value of x. What shall we do now? Let's find the multiplicative inverse of negative 13x. The multiplicative inverse of negative 13x is negative 13. What you have done on the left hand side must also be done on the right hand side. You also divide by negative 13. Negative divided by a negative, it's a positive. 13 goes here once, 13 goes here once, and you are left with x is equal to negative divided by a negative, it's a positive. 13 goes here once, 13 goes here once, 1 out of 1 is equal to 1. Therefore, the value of x is 1, and that is the answer. Let's call it a day. Bye. Love you.